Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Do you know that you can say that to anyone, any day of the year? That you could begin anew at any moment in your life if you choose to. That the whole New Year's experience is an invitation to receive a call to move forward. And ultimately, it really is an illusion, because every day, many of us receive calls to move forward in our life. These could be calls to change our life, sometimes in a very significant way, other times in small ways. We receive calls all the time to let something go, to let go of something we know does not serve our highest dreams, to let go of parts of ourselves or perceptions of ourselves that we know we do not like and do not want to repeat, to let go of situations that we absolutely know are holding us back. These calls, other times, they come to us and we're called to stick with something that appears not to be working out, that appears not to be going as we planned it. Yet there's something inside of us beyond the appearance that calls us to stay on track. These calls in our life, they become more apparent on New Year's because we celebrate a holiday. But yet, every day is a new day when we listen to the call. I've realized that when the calls are God ideas, higher ideas, divine ideas, they usually cause some inner tension. You know, when it's a God, I know when it's a God idea in my life because I start sweating. Metaphysically, of course, but sometimes I really break out in a sweat. It's a God idea. Because it's a higher idea, a divine idea, a God idea, it appears in my mind like there's two opposing camps, two sides, if you will. And I realize I can identify the two sides. There's one side, it's my egoic self. My ego, it wants to stay the same. It wants to control all the people, places, and things in my life as if it can. And it wants to hang on to yesterday and repeat it over and over and over again because the ego is comfortable with stability. Yet it calls from the divine mind that we understand is God, want us to let go of stability. Because sameness is never a God idea. Then there's that spirit camp, if you will, that other side. And the spirit self, the higher mind, if you will, wants us to move forward. It's the dreaming part of ourself. It's the part of ourself that seeks transformation in every moment, that looks and sees and discerns opportunity in every experience. The spirit self in us never labels anything as good or bad. It all just is, and we want to break through whatever the is to what can be. And now these calls, I was thinking, they come in many different ways, to many different people, at many different times. Sometimes these calls, they're little whispers. They're like, this is spirit, and I have an idea. Other times they're signs. They show up as messages. God uses other people sometimes to knock on the soul of our life and say, wake up a little. But most of the time, it's an inner call. I know in my life, sometimes the calls show up with a spiritual 2x4. Knock me in the head right to the ground and say, wake up, Frank. Don't you see I have an inspirational call for you? Pay attention. And so the call can come from many different ways. I was thinking about somebody that I think received the call that I'm talking about. We all know his name is Jabez. And in Scripture, if you go to the first chapter of Chronicles in the 4th verse, doesn't say what his question was. We don't know anything about this man Jabez, but we clearly hear his solution to the call through his answer, through his prayer. And in the 10th chapter, what we read is Jabez cries out to the God of Israel, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me and keep me from harm so that I will be free from pain." And God granted his request. That's all we hear of Jabez in the entire Bible. We don't know anything else about this man or what's going on in his life. We don't know what caused him to cry out, but I believe it was a call from Spirit. What I believe is there's a Jabez quality inside every one of us. And it always guides us to move in the direction of a solution for the spiritual tension I just described. Jabez, he first affirms God is the blessing. He's not looking for a blessing outside of him. He's not looking for someone else to change. He's not looking for more of something else. He's looking for God to be the blessing in him. Then he asks God to enlarge his territory. To enlarge, what I understand, is his sphere of influence. Then he reminds himself that God is with him and that there is no reason to fear or to worry. That what he understands is, I believe, is a very intelligent awareness of God, that God never chooses suffering over pain in us. You see, in our own life, there are times we need to walk through some painful moments, but suffering is optional. We choose to suffer because suffering is an emotional attachment to what was, as opposed to accepting what is. And so this prayer to cry out, "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me. Let me be free from pain." And then declare God answers, is an awakening inside of us. It's an awakening to a part of us that directs our thoughts to God and not the problem. To God, as we understand God, it may be a higher power, it may be divine mind, it may be an infinite source. However we understand God, in this awakening, there is a self-realization of victory.